Bula. This is Lloyd of the Northwest, and I'm enjoying these delicious Northwest blackberries out here in the woods near a babbling brook, which I'm sure you can hear. And I wanted to talk a little bit about the difference between the soul and spirit, because these two concepts are conflated in our modern minds today. The soul and the spirit, they mean pretty much the same thing, but they didn't in the ancient world. They're very different. And for the last several conversations, we've talked about how the brain constructs the functions of the soul, which is the only evidence there is for a soul. So if the brain can construct all those functions, we don't need a non-material entity to explain that. And in the ancient world, the two concepts of soul and spirit were very different. Spirit had to do with moving air, with things like wind and breath. In fact, when life starts is when a person takes their own first breath, and then when life ends is when they give up the ghost, they give up the spirit. And it's also struck me how consistent this whole concept was throughout the ancient world. The Greeks had the word pneuma, which meant spirit, and from which we derive a Latin word spiritus, for our English word spirit. But it was the same in India as well, with prana in Sanskrit, chi in Chinese, ruach in Hebrew. So we have this concept, and it's amazingly consistent. It means moving air. If you look at the third chapter of John, where Jesus has his discourse with Nicodemus, and he's explaining things of the Spirit, and that which is born of the flesh is flesh, and that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. Marvel not that I say unto thee, you must be born again. The wind bloweth whither it listeth, and thou hearest the sound thereof, but canst not tell whence it cometh, nor whither it goeth. So is everyone who is born of the Spirit. And they had to translate the same word, pneuma, as spirit in some places and wind in the others. Well, today we do know where the wind, whence it cometh and whither it goeth. We understand the gas laws and how the gaseous state of matter behaves. We know about oxygen and its life-giving capacity, so we no longer need this concept that the spirit is some mystical conscious entity that's floating around up there. We understand it. So knowing this gives us a lot more freedom to explore ideas about how we create life and how we create personhood in the brain by our ability to construct the soul. And that should inform many of our important discussions today, discussions about abortion, for example, and discussions about euthanasia, discussions about modification of life, and even our own ability to modify our own beings, our physical beings, with technology, and ultimately with knowledge. So these are my thoughts for this morning. I hope you found them enlightening, and now I'm going to go back to eating my blackberries. Pinaka.